The 10th Planet is arguably one of the most important stories in the history of Doctor Who. It's William Hartnell's final regular performance as the Doctor, introduces the Cybermen, and features the first ever regeneration. Episode 4 is unfortunately missing from the BBC's archive, but it was animated in 2013. After the negative to mixed reaction to the Reign of Terror, how was the animation team going to approach this landmark episode? Join me in my journey of revisiting Doctor Who's missing episode range as we look back and reflect on the 10th Planet and ask the question, is this the perfect animation? The Doctor, Polly and Ben arrive at a space tracking station in Antarctica, but the TARDIS wasn't the only spaceship to land. The base is invaded by metal men from the planet Mondas. Their mission? To destroy Earth and convert all humans to become like them. Only one thing is guaranteed. The Doctor will die. Planet 55, who also animated the Reign of Terror and the Moon Base, started work on this release all the way back in 2011, only to be finished and released in 2013. Straight away, it's clear that the animation team at Planet 55 learned a lot from the Reign of Terror, and it feels like decades have passed between productions. All of the areas they succeed in with the previous release have returned, such as the character and set artwork, and the breathtaking rotoscoping and hand-drawn elements. The negative points have been discarded, such as the awkward 2D, 3D animation of the characters, and instead, a more traditional form of character animation has replaced it. Everything seems to blend together much better now. In scenes where there is high emotion, they shift to hand-drawn animation, adding a glimmer in the eye, more anime-style movements. It's so much more dynamic. The scenes are edited with more clarity. We're getting establishing shots and we're holding onto shots a lot longer than they did in Reign. Yet it still feels pacey. There's no awkward gaps that they don't know how to fill. They've made the right decisions on when it's best to rotoscope and when not to. It is a massive improvement. The Cybermen are drawn and animated well and maintain their creepiness. It's difficult to recreate the horror of the original Cybermen because they're so rough around the edges. It doesn't always translate to an animated medium, but I think they've done a great job lighting them, and having their cheekbones so defined makes them feel sickly. Like under those bandages are flesh and bone. The element effects like smoke and fire from the cyber guns are fun and exciting. I can only describe the destruction of Mondas as sick. The bubbling lava and the explosion is just really nice. The telesnaps for episode 4 exist in the BBC's archive, and are used as a reference throughout this entire animation. It adds such a level of authenticity. It feels as close to the original as it could be. There isn't much room for artistic liberty with this one episode, and it feels almost sinful to do that to this one, because it's such an important story. The Doctor facing up against a giant crab in the Macra Terror, go your hardest with reimagination, but the first regeneration? It would feel sacrilegious. I think it goes to show that the original story production is quite good considering its budget. The movement on William Hartnell is a massive step up from Reign. It feels like he's moving in the same way that he did in the show. It's nice with hand-drawn animation because you can replicate the style of movement better rather than rigging a 2D drawing. Hartnell's performance as well is really good in this also, and you can tell that just by the audio. His commanding voice when confronting the Cybermen in the tracking room. He has full control over that situation. To his body wearing thin in the Cyberman ship, his pauses are so intentional. He works every second of screen time without overdoing it. Instantly, you know there is something wrong with the Doctor, and it's purely in his performance. Hartnell was such an incredible performer, and it breaks my heart that this episode is missing. The animators did their best to give a rough idea of what he had for us, and I think they did an amazing job. It must have been wild for audiences in 1966 to witness the first regeneration. There is no context given in the scene. Just a flash of images, bright lights, and the TARDIS whirring. The Doctor collapsing, his face turning white, and another face appearing. The shot is so close up that you can't even really make out that there's a new face there. You know there's something different, something wrong, but what? Nowadays, regeneration is so common that every single person in the UK has played the Doctor at some point. But back then, it was so mysterious. Even in The Power of the Daleks, they don't go into much detail. The Doctor has never been so mysterious and unknowing. Hartnell's performance is just pitch perfect. Seeing how modern regenerations are done nowadays, having the Doctor do something massively heroic, with a big massive adventure with every villain ever returning, and tries to tug on your heartstrings at every single moment. It's so odd watching The 10th Planet. A story where the Doctor disappears for an episode, gets Ben to save the day for him, and goes for a nap, and then dies. His cause of death isn't even given. It's so vague. But the material doesn't hold back Hartnell. He is a masterclass. You can tell he put his all in it. And it still has that feeling of dread and sadness when he leaves that spaceship to regenerate. It may not be as tear-jerking like a new series regeneration, but you still feel something. The animators did an amazing job recreating this important episode. I think they really did it justice. I remember when this animation first came out. It appeared on a special box set called Regenerations in June, before it had its own standalone release in October. I remember being so envious of those who got to see it beforehand, and I was just desperate to see this animation. I was already a massive First Doctor fan by 2013, and I was in full 50th anniversary celebration mode. Maybe I got like a pirated copy or something, because that's a really long wait. Either way, I eventually bought it, so get over it, BBC. You have so much of my money anyway, and I'll buy it on Blu-ray again like a sucker. Either way, if I waited or I didn't, when I finally got to watch it, I thought The 10th Planet as a story is probably more iconic due to its lore rather than its actual story. But as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate the horror of those original Cybermen designs. Yes, they look a bit cheap and a bit rough around the edges, but if you turn that analytical side of your brain off and watch it as if you're a child, you can really see how creepy they are. Out of all of Doctor Who's monsters, the Cybermen in any design are the ones I would probably fear the most. The 10th Planet is a must-watch for all Doctor Who fans. And please give Hartnell's Doctor a chance. His performance is so complicated, from being a complete arsehole to being like a giggling gnome, and then eventually becoming like a loving grandfather. He is the original, and in my opinion, the best. So, what did you think of the 10th Planet animation? Let me know in the comment section below. Okay. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Josh Nez YouTube channel.